welcome. Okay, so we're doing another review here. This is Kid Revos, or Revos the Wolf, and we're back with this show, man. And this show is, oh my God, this show is so slow. Why the hell is this show so slow? I don't know, man. But this is episode 5, Partings, and it starts off with the Harfoots. She's talking to the stranger pseudo Gandalf. I hope it's not Gandalf, but it's leaning more and more to it possibly being Gandalf. And so they're talking here, going about their travel, their psychotic travel. Remember, leave no Harfoot behind. But hey, you know that guy that got killed to death by bees, right? That was pretty funny, huh? Yeah, those people. She's telling them how they make this pilgrimage every year, and she's also given him the nickname of Sticks. I don't know where the hell that name comes from. His face says he don't know where the hell that name comes from. He's like, what the hell is Sticks? Um, and she tells him that he's not evil. He's good. And she emphasizes several times that he's here to do good. It's like, how the hell you find somebody that falls from the sky, leave fire, they scream and the world turn dark, and they get fireflies and they die? I don't know where you seen the good here, but since Harfoots are not actually canon to Tolkien lore, doesn't even matter at this point, right? Um. Oh, this part. Oh my god. So they decided they wanted to put a Disney song in here. This whole scene was them singing, and it just, I really felt like it was a Disney Plus. I don't know where the song came from, and it got really theatrical, and it's like music about them traveling, and they're the only ones. Also, now remember, if you've been watching this show, which if you do, my condolences. I'm sorry that you've lost so much time in the passing of your time watching this show that you can never get back because this show is so dry. I'm trying to show you. There's nobody near them. This is them singing while they're like, to say that they're on the back of the trail. Look, that's the trail. I think I actually see somebody in this. This is insane. Keep that in mind for later, right? Uh, Now as you see, I said later, but look, they somehow made up all that ground while she's still singing. And this whole, for the first 7 minutes of this show is them, and 4 minutes of them is this song outside the intro. Just nothing. And he's wondering about the stars and him crashing back as a onto the ground. That's the hole he left, right? So we go to the next one. You get this thing, uh, as they call the Slim Shady Shawn, but She-Ron maybe, Shinron. I don't know. They're investigating the crash site of the stranger, and it's just staring. There's nothing said. She's putting the sun toward there for some reason. I don't know. Is this an Indiana Jones setup? I don't know what beaming the sun is going to do. They're touching it. And you have Adar also looking in the sun. He tells his orc, hold out his hand. And he's like, I need you to burn for a couple of seconds to make this all dramatic. I want you to just sit there and feel what happens when you don't have sunblock. And he's seeming like he's regretting the fact that he has to kill the sun. That is his plan, to kill the sun. Oh, so much here. This scene. So Brownwin makes the speech of asking the people to stand with her. And she's like, I know I'm not the king you asked for, but our enemy is going to attack us. So why don't you stand and fight? I don't know why you got to lead with the whole I'm not the king you want speech. You could have just said, hey, they looking to take our lives. We need to make a stand. I don't know. However, he's thwarted by the old guy that's, Sauron boy. You heard of a Sauron? All he says is, hey, if we uh if we pledge allegiance like our forefathers did, we'll be fine. They pledged allegiance to Morgoth. They lived. This is somehow enough to sway, as they say, it looks like the whole village, half the village, to go and leave the tower. And I would mock the fact that all he said is they lived, except for her speech was equally as bad. Just as bad. Horrible. Right? And she looks sad as they're leaving now. Let's see here. Where are we? Now, this part. He's talking to Isildur. Isildur is coming to him and he's like, oh, I want to join. Now all of a sudden Isildur wants to join the armies that are going out to sea. And he's like, why? He wants to join. He's like, well, I'm sorry, are you Sea Guard? He says, no. Are you cavalry? No. Are you horse guard? No. And I don't understand, why did they make Isildur, he's unlikable. You can't trust him. I know he's young, so they made him like teenage young man ish. But he's flaky. You can't rely on him to do anything, right? Because just like that, I'm done. Like, and because the time passage here is horrible. Like, everything is happening like a day or so's time. It was just last episode, I believe, where he purposely flunked the Sea Guard test just to get off of it, and now you want to go and fight in war. It's like, come on, man. And then when your father shoots you down, you talking about, oh, you still mad about the Sea Guard. You can't do one job where other people's lives were on the line. I'm gonna put you in a even more dependent role. The writing of the show. And then he says, oh, well, we got enough volunteers. You'll need to. And that's one more thing. Why are they going to volunteers first? Why? You go to volunteers when you're out of reserves, when you're out of the main army force. If I'm not mistaken, Numenor was one of the greatest naval forces at the time. I mean, you see the sweeping shots that they spend all this money to see of their town. This is a massive city. You trying to tell me there's no soldiers? That the moment you're going to war, you need recruits? And you're sending out 500 recruits. Or about, it's all over the place. It's so frustrating. I don't get it. He goes over it with him and he basically tells him no. And then you see Hallbrand here forging steel perfectly. Now, You see, it has an engraving. I don't know how you fight with that. The hilt on that is so small, but that's neither here nor there. But he lost the when he stole the guild crest. When they jumped him in the alley, didn't they take it from him? And didn't he get imprisoned? So how do you get released and you're forging weapons? I don't. It's like they write this show and they have no memory of the details they lay before you in the first episode. How did he get released and now he's just sitting here forging these perfect, beautiful works? Nobody questions how did he get this? They didn't teach him anything. He just automatically knows their style because most kingdoms have their own culture and their own style of weaponry. So he would know their engravings and stuff, and he just gets it like that. Come on. Now, here you see a part where he meets the queen, Muriel, and uh, Galadriel has volunteered his services to um has volunteered his services to help them in the war aid, and he's looking at her like, WTF? I didn't say I was going to do that. What the hell are you doing? And she's like, oh, well, she told us that you would be able to help us on the other side of the shore when we land, um, in the Southlands. But I could have swore Middle Earth is like to the east of them. That's what they said anyway, but we're going to the Southlands, right? And he's looking at her, and again, she's beyond unbearable. She is double crossed and done everything to get whatever she wants. And I'm not gonna say that this whole show is tanking because of her. The show's tanking because it sucks. And it's dry. It is just no tension whatsoever. And it's horrible. So, oh yeah, this part. This part. So they get into an argument. He calls her out for using him. And he calls her out for using him. And she says, "Oh, well, with me getting 500 men and 5 ships, I could say you used me." How the hell did he use you if he said he don't want to be king and he don't want to go back? And she pulls this card and he just kind of gets silent and walk away. No, he did say, find another king, but how you how you pull a victim card on that? Oh, I could say you used me. I got you 500 ships to take back your kingdom that you don't want. That you said several times you don't want to be near, so you used me. This you see more of them on a journey. You see more of them walking around. We're back with the Harfoots. Um, they caught up with the whole group. Remember how they were behind before. Now this part you see they're running from wolves, and he uses uh, a ground slam attack to stop the wolves, which wasn't really an attack. It's 3 wolves, but you saw the wolves like around episode 1 or 2, and now they're finally attacking after all this time. All them people tracking and traversing, they're now attacking, but they just so happen to attack these 3. And he does a ground slam move to kind of thwart their assault. Interesting. And now all of a sudden the Harfoots are in love with Sir Ganondron until we find out who the hell he is. Uh oh gosh. So this is Galadriel and the Numenorians are training to fight. There's many things wrong with this episode, with this scene. One, nobody trains. First of all, they're training in the square instead of a garrison. I mean, you could have built a set anywhere instead of a garrison. Why are they training in the open market? And so she comes by, she sees it, um, and she says that your men are not prepared to kill an orc. So now the leader of the Numenorian army says, "Oh well, go ahead and why don't you give them some pointers on how to kill orcs?" Her pointers was stab, twist, and gut. What pointers is that to kill orcs in particular? Last I check, you can kill anybody with stab, twist, and gut. Anybody you stab in the stomach and twist it, they're likely done. You said nothing in particular. That's one. Two, why are there no practice swords? Why are y'all sitting here swinging? And they're, I mean, if you see it, they're all out just swinging and slicing their swords. And these are actual swords. So they can mess around and lob somebody's head off. How do you have a whole army that never picked up a weapon? Oh yeah, I forgot, they're volunteers. But why does you have a massive naval fleet made of volunteers? Where's the actual military or the naval force? It's like this show doesn't think about any of the stuff. It's like they have set pieces in their mind and then they say, "Okay, that sounds good. That looks good. We're going to go with that." They don't actually like think if it's going to make sense or if it's relevant. So the thing that goes on is anybody that cuts her is going to be named anybody that cuts her is going to be named lieutenant. So what ensues is a massive matrixy fight. It is a very weird fight. I mean, uh, Captain Illendale, sorry, it's Sildor's father. I had to look up his name. He's watching it, but it's like, it's comical. When you see she fights at one point, they all strike at her at the same time. And she blocks it with two swords. And I'm like, who? Like, that's the type of stuff you see with Three Musketeers or something, or Hook, the Robin Williams version. You don't see that. That's not realistic. That you can block 4 or 5 different attacks at once, and it goes to this thing where she's like side dodging and she's showing off and she's smiling. That's the only time you find her smiling. If she's riding, or if she's riding a horse, or that weird creepy smile, or if she's fighting. But her dodges are even Matrix-esque. Like, she's the side dodge and she smirks and she's very cocky with how she fights, but the fight scenes look horrible with her dodging and fighting. Now, um, his friend, Isildur's friend, does manage to cut her, and you see she's dodging. Does manage to cut her, and he is named the lieutenant. And that's only to set up what him asking Isildur coming asking him and begging him later on to join. Now here's one part I did like. So you have a part where Ilindel's daughter goes to this man to ask him to speak to Farazan to convince him not to do the war. He goes to him and he tells him that this is not good for Numenor. Why would you do it? He and Farazan, he's starting to see shades of how Farazan thinks. And he says, well, if we go to war, the low men will owe us, and we don't take orders from elves. Soon they'll be taking orders from us. And we can have additional resources. We'll have additional capital as well from helping the lowly men. And it seemed like that made sense. It's very capitalistic. It means that you're not helping out of free will. They do have something expecting to get in return, but it's just not forefront. But he doesn't like that idea, which I just found that to be stupid. I mean, it was clear cut what his idea is, and that's his face while he's hearing it. Uh, mm. It's like, like you sitting by somebody and they fart, and they know that they know that they farted. You just there with such contempt. Like, I know you ain't just going to play like you did that. And he walks off and leaves him. Oh Lord, I'm not doing the father. Father waking up and saying there's darkness. Miriel's father wakes up and says there's darkness if you go over the Middle Earth. Uh, okay, so um, Gandramon. That's gonna keep it Gandramon until we confirm who it is. I know it's like 99%. I know it's like 99% certain that that's Gandalf likely. But he hurt his hand with the ground slam with the wolves. And she sees that he's freezing over his hand, he's stuck doing an incantation. And she's like, no, no, stop. No, no. She grabs her hand to it like an idiot, freezes her hand. Now her hand is frozen. And after he finished, and she's trying to pull away, she's screaming and she's crying. And he finishes the incantation and blows her off. He doesn't even know she's there. And then when he goes to touch her, she goes and run like he hurt her. Why the hell would you know nothing about this man, first of all? But why the hell would you touch somebody who you see their arm is freezing over? What do you at that fast of a rate? What do you think is going to happen when you touch the rapidly freezing hand that's getting ice over it? Hmm? Your hand might freeze? I don't know. But common sense is not common here. He ends up healing his hand. She's now afraid of him because he hurt her. Uh, there go the face. Oh my God, he hurt me. Okay, so this scene. Um, so Doran comes back with he came to actually check out the meeting with so Celebrimbor to see what's going on. And so the leader of the elves starts peering into him about what are they doing in the mountains. And your mountain's been quiet for some time. Why are you suddenly so active? Now Doran does dodge this by talking about the table and how that the type of uh material the table is made from is a very sacred table material to the dwarves, and that they use it for monuments to their fallen and they're honored. and it kind of gets him off topic as to him trying to pressure him as to find out about the mithril. Um, it's kind of interesting. I do like the scenes with Doran. He is one of the he is one of the few lights of the show. Him and Elrond for the most part. But other than that, you see that they go to talk about the table. He's still pushing. It's not that great. Then there's this story. He calls forth after Doran leaves. He calls forth Doran. Oh, sorry, Elrond. My bad. And tells this extremely dumb of a lie, completely made up story. I'm not a buff on Lord of the Rings lore. Um, but they've changed so much of this lore for whatever reason. I do know for a fact, elves in the lore are aware of mithril. They actually came in on boats laced with mithril. It is a rare ore, but they are aware of it. So I don't know what they're doing with this in the lore. Uh, but he tells them that, oh well, our our tree is dying, it's dimming, and if we don't go back to Valinor, we're gonna die. We're gonna fade away into nothing. And Elrond is kind of taken aback by this. He's saying that they need mithril. They need the power of mithril to relight their tree. And I'm kind of lost because one, he tells the story of a Belrog fighting one of the elves' mightiest and lightning striking the tree while the elf is infusing it with light and the Belrog is infusing it with darkness, and it's dumb. It's dumb. But how are you going to get power from an ore um to save a tree? Last I checked, mithril is kind of just about indestructible, and that's about it. Like that's his really his strongest thing is it's damn near hard to break. Now here's the funny part. So Elrond, and he's saying if we don't get this mithril, we're gonna die. Elrond says, I made a vow to Doran. I can't say anything. Basically, my word is my bond. He then proceeds to go right after he says this that he can't break his vow and the tree's gonna have to die. To speaking, sorry, this is them partying. It's a dumb thing during the party, by the way. Um, he goes and asks his friend, Isildur asks his friend for a spot on the boat. The friend says no, and two pieces of punch to the stomach, punch to the face, punch to the face, punch to the stomach. Also seems like Isildur can't take a punch and can't fight. Okay, where is it? What is this scene? Okay, this scene. So this guy not heeding to what his father Farazad told him, he decides he's gonna go destroy the ships. He goes to light the ships using the wine that's aboard. I don't know why they need that much wine. You would think you would stock water. You're going to war, right? Why the hell you need so much wine? But they have just barrels and barrels of wine. He starts breaking the casks and trying to light them. He finds Isildur as a stowaway there. Isildur questions him. They get into a fight. Now, the funny part about this is he throws his jacket. They're both looking at it. And if you watch it, it's the wine is slowly going towards it. All you had to do was just pull it out. That's all you had to do. They do neither. So they get to the top of the ship. It blows up. It damages the other ship. If I can find, there we go. Now a lot of people are saying that only one ship got destroyed. No, because one is apparently is explosive and not flammable. Not just flammable, it's explosive. This ship blew up, and the fire bounced on the next ship, and that ship caught a flame, and that ship burned up. So two ships were destroyed. Um, and Ellendale comes, asks what happened. His son says he must have been in a fishing boat near here, near, and if he did not get him out, he would have died. There is no fishing boats, and well, there's something here, but that sounds mighty fishy. You don't even question them. He looks at them and just says, okay. Like he hears it, okay, and that's it. And so now they're rattled. They don't want to go to war. The queen doesn't want to do it. She's telling her, remember why you chose it. Remember your faith. And we're back to don't trust the elf. This show is so dialogue heavy, which can be fine, but it's so much politics and it's so much dialogue and it's just too much. Now here's one part. Remember how Elrond was saying he don't want to betray uh Doran's trust? How you go right from you don't want to tell, I forgot his name. There's a Gilladel, the head elf, Galid. I think it's Galid. You don't want to tell him, but you go and tell Celebrimbor. Oh, I don't want to break my friend's oath. You just did. You showed him the mithril, and you just did. So what was the difference? What? Oh well, technically, I only swore not to tell the king. You said you wouldn't tell a soul, and you leave right from going to him to confirming if you were sent out, if your job to go out was a hoax to find out what they're mining, but you tell him about the mithril. Oh my god! And meanwhile, the whole time while he's saying that, the whole time he's I can't tell what I found, but he's like, "Did you find mithril?" Oh, I can't say whatever I found down there that was shining because you're saying without saying. This is stupid. Oh man. And they're still saying that this mithril's gonna save their tree. You got another scene of these two. They're trying to make this into a romance. They're really trying to. He's like, look, if you want me to go back, I need to know why. Why are you so pressed? Why are you so hell bent on revenge? Because he does get pushed her to where she admits she wants revenge for her brother dying. And she basically says that everybody, including her friend Elrond and Galid and her own men, mutinied against her because they see her as the same darkness as Sauron. No, they see you are annoying. No, they see you, they can't trust you. You are blinded by your revenge. They see you can't be reasoned with. You don't care. You don't care who live is involved, what the circumstances is. You just want to do what you want to do. That's what they see. To say you're Sauron is you're overreacting. Of course. They talk and he leaves. He also kind of hints that he ain't so squeaky clean, the things that he did before he left and how he ended up surviving. So he's kind of lightly telling her, hey, I might actually have been down with Morgoth before. But, she starts actually shedding a tear. She tells him the only way he can find peace is to go back to the other side, not by mining. So the old guy, Mr. Have you heard of Sauron, boy? He goes back to Adar. He pledges his leadership to Adar, and Adar says, "That's nice, but I'm gonna need you to spill some blood. Blood is binding. Words is fleeting." And once again with this show, he where is it? Oh, he tells him to kill this guy, and we are left to assume that he kills him because every time there's action in this show, it is done off screen so that they can focus more on the drama and more on this other stuff that don't matter. Neurotics have an intro where it's them coming on like it's the Young and the Restless. I wish I go to his channel if you see it. He does it for all of these Ring of Power reviews. But it's they're really stuck on themselves, and I think that's the problem with the show. It's in love with its own beauty. It doesn't really want to deal with the aspects of the war. It wants to focus on its drama. It wants to focus on this overacting and the beauty of the sets and the locations. Because there's no reason why you could not, even if you don't want to show him stabbing or like, I'm not saying you gotta see him plunge in his chest, but you could just show the backside of him, like, and then the boy spit up blood or something. It just fades away with him crying, "No, don't do it." Oh, oh. So more acting, more drama, more useless tension. Theo, her son, is talking to Aramir. Why do you trust us? You know of our past. We serve the Dark Lord. We serve Morgoth. And you every time we got a kitchen knife, it's too sharp. And he's like, "Oh, I know. I learned of the voices behind the knives and the hands that hold the knives." And I need to look into the writers. I don't know if they playwrights. It's like a play. There's actually a scene where his mother Bronwyn goes off on this long tangent, just talking, and everybody in the town is around them watching it like it's a play. "Oh, I don't know if maybe we belong to the darkness. Maybe we're destined to be dark. That is our true nature." "No, don't say that. How can you?" And I'm just like, "Oh, please. Please stop it. Please." This has went on longer than I thought it was gonna be. I don't even they unmasked what their son's been hiding for like 3 episodes now. And it just so happens, oh, it's a rod from the Dark Lord. It just so happens that the old tower that they're stationed at, guess what? It just so happens that it's there. And you see he pulls down, he literally moves like 3 vines, and you see a full statue of something holding that exact rod. And they realize it's a rod of Morgoth. And so they go, and that's what starts that talk of maybe the humans are destined, man is destined for darkness, and don't be so foolish. You got to make a stand. Because then she starts talking about turning themselves in and surrendering. Maybe that's their destiny. And it's and look how much time it eats up. It is it it is Now, what happens here is Doran and Elrond is talking as the men are moving the table. Gilad, I forgot. I will get this name right for episode 6. He agrees to part ways with the table after making the insult on the Dwarven culture. These two are seeing it off, and Elrond, I think, notices that something is wrong, and so he says, "You kind of lied about the table, right?" He's like, "Yeah, I lied. Yeah, but it's funny." And these two kind of banter back and forth, where he basically says, "Look, we might need that Mitchell. I'm gonna keep your oath, even though he didn't. Um, but our people are dying, and we may need your help to use that, or we will really rely on it, or we're going to either die, or we're going to have to go back to Valinor. And so he makes him say it a couple of times that his people are dependent on him, and he's really basking in that little funny moment. Again, it's the only time that this show can be semi-palatable is these two. But what is more important is the king is overwatching their conversation. I'm not sure why they didn't. That happens all the time. So the king's probably mad that um Elrod didn't tell him, but Elrod did everything but say, yeah, they got Mithril. So, but Durin did say they're going to speak to the king, his father, and see if they can get the rights to mine it. And it goes off with them preparing to go to war. Isildur still joins the army. His sister's not happy about it. You see them on the fleets, and then you get this shot. This is why I say the show is in love with itself. It's dead air. There's no breeze. She stands there. All of a sudden, this dramatic music plays. Her hair is brisking in the wind, and she's like, "Yes." And it's just, and the scene goes on way too long with the sweeping chorus, and they say it's 100 men a boat. It's more like, I say 30 at max, and they only left with 3 ships. So this is a Numenor had the greatest fleet at its time in the Second Age, but you have no warships on reserve, none, that you could just replace. So you have none on backup. Add on the fact that you going for volunteers to volunteer for war when you should already have an army. And so the show ends with them finally going off to war to the west. Hellenbrand joins, and it kind of goes off with them heading off to aid that one town that is in danger. You're sending them off. You don't know what's on the other side. You don't know how many orcs you think is on the other side. You're leaving with 300 men to fight what? This is not, you're not Leonidas. 300 men. And you think the whole darkness is over there and you're going with 300 men? Yeah, I'm not even gonna rate this show. It's a beautiful bore, and if you really think about it, it makes no sense. Nothing makes no sense, and they forget what they write the next episode. So if you have any memory or to go back and watch it, you don't even need the lore to pull us apart. How you gonna go to war with 300 men? At least Leonidas had a plan for to funnel them to them. You don't know how many orcs is over there. This is stupid. But let me know what you think below. Episode 6 will be dropping next week. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling to cover this, but I do hope you enjoy. Peace and bless your family. This is goodbye for now.